Today is April 21st, Tuesday. We are over a month into quarantine, and at this point, looking into the future, we are looking at least another month. In my last video, I talked about stopping the quarantine, and that was a very controversial video. The only thing that I've done in the past 24 hours differently than that is to now post in the Chicago service industry page. For people not familiar with that, it is basically the largest service industry page almost anywhere that I know of. It holds over 30,000 members, and it is the main communication source for most bartenders, servers, and anyone else involved in restaurants in Chicago. I have now been banned from that group, all for posting an article that simply warned of the future for our industry. We are looking at a new age of censorship. Censorship on a massive level never seen before and never accepted before. Fear has gripped us at a level that I didn't think was actually possible. So this banning from this large group came about from what article? It is right in front of you guys. It is Eater, which is a major restaurant magazine. It's not a blog. It's not some random person writing random things. It is an actual syndicated magazine. This one is from Eater, New York, because they have different branches in different parts of the country. There will be no grand reopening for restaurants. I'm a bartender. That's my skill. And for some, they don't understand that we have built our lives as true bartenders, our careers around that complicated and deep task. So when I see an entire service industry page all ganging up on me to simply say things like, shut up, go to hell. Here's a good one. Jonathan Quinn, fuck the fuck off, you trifling, lying twat waffle. Peddle your shit in Kansas, you dumb little fucktard. That was pretty much the response I got from everyone that I talked to on that post. From Jesse Briggs, the moderator of the group, you're degenerate dumpster trash that doesn't deserve the medical attention that will be given to you if you end up with this. So guys, what did this Eater article even say? It is from the California governor, Gavin Newsom. Who's a former San Francisco restaurateur. This is a guy who's been in the industry and built his name in our industry, the restaurant industry, and is now a governor and is telling us what the future of restaurants is going to be like post-coronavirus. Here's a quote, but when California's restaurants do reopen, minus an estimated 30% that could permanently close during the COVID-19 crisis. Permanently close. Okay, we're going to slash 30% of service industry jobs by 30%, guys. 30%. That's a massive. 1/3 of jobs in our restaurant industry would never be recovered. You may be having dinner with a waiter wearing gloves, maybe a face mask, a dinner where the menu is disposable, where the tables, half of the tables in that restaurant no longer appear, where your temperature is checked before you walk into the establishment. That all leaves restaurants and bar owners with the difficult and maddening task of planning for an uncertain future, gaming out many possible reopening timelines and new business models. The industry, quote, the restaurant industry seems particularly vulnerable to a long crisis. And that quote is from the National Bureau of Economic Research. When more is clear and restaurants do return, one guideline that experts are likely to agree upon is limiting restaurant capacities to allow for better physical distancing. This possible new normal for the U.S. is already underway in areas that have experienced COVID-19 before North America, such as China. Their restaurateur, Jean-Georges Vorgenschen, that's terrible, reopened his business in Shanghai at the end of March. Quote, when you walk into the restaurant, it's all government rules. There are a lot of restrictions. Taking the temperature from all the chefs, taking temperature from the customers as well. No table bigger than 4, spaced 6 to 8 feet between tables. Nobody touches money, so people go to an app for the restaurant on their phone. The waiter just brings wine, water, and food. It's very limited, restricted, but it seems to be working. Nobody talks to anybody, and it's deathly quiet in the dining room. Quote, the whole idea with restaurants is to squeeze in as many people as possible. You're paying rent for the month and you're open for like 5 hours a night. Now, if you say we have to reduce our density, our capacity, restaurants are going to focus a lot more on online delivery and pickup. Guys, I'm reading quotes from the article. I'm reading quotes that restaurateurs that are dealing with this currently are talking about. I'm reading quotes about reality. Being banned from a Facebook group doesn't really matter to me. It's not a big deal. What matters to me is that once we get through a quarantine, when we arrive back into our industry, it is never going to look the same. And what are we doing this for? Statistically, not much. Statistically, if you are under the age of 45, the death rate is astronomically low compared to almost every other type of death that could possibly happen to an individual. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to make light of any death. Any death is a tragedy, and it affects tens, hundreds, if not thousands of people for each individual death. And I don't want to make light of anyone's death that has already died. But what I think a lot of people are making light of is the fact that we are staying at home, being quarantined, and having nothing coming in financially except for government money. Let's look at the statistics from the CDC, as said by Ben Shapiro.
To pretend that all populations are equivalently vulnerable to COVID-19 is deeply irresponsible. So I'm going to give you the deaths involving coronavirus by age group in the United States. By age group in the United States over the course of the last few months, basically from February 1st to April 11th. Okay, this is by age in the United States. Under 1 year of age, there have been 0 deaths from COVID-19. From 1 to 4 years of age, there have been 2 deaths from COVID-19. This is according to the CDC. From 5 to 14 years, there has been 1 death from COVID-19. From 15 to 24 years, there have been 13 deaths from COVID-19. 13 total across the United States. Okay, but by the way, here is the comparable statistic as to the number of deaths from all causes during that period. Over 5,000 people aged 15 to 24 have died in the period February 1st to April 11th in the United States, 13 from COVID-19. So obviously, this is not equivalently hitting people when they say, oh, well, it's hitting young people too. Yeah, but not really. I mean, statistically speaking, it's really not hitting young people particularly hard. Basically, if you're under 45 years of age, the chances that you are going to die from COVID are exceedingly low. Very, very, very low.
Again, guys, that's from the CDC. That's from the people tracking this. Those are real numbers. And again, no death is acceptable. But we have to weigh the acceptability of a death against the actual financial ramifications of an economy being shut down. A lot of us don't want to think about that. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm not paying rent and I'm not paying bills. And if you are, you need to reconsider where exactly you're getting this money from, because this government money could just as easily run out. Illinois' rating has been reduced again to just above junk. The state is broke. The city, Chicago, is even more broke than the state. And guys, I want you to take a look at this graph here. This is a graph showing all these different points of unemployment. You can see as it climbs all through the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, it keeps getting pretty high. 2008, you see a spike, and now at 2020, it climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs. It is not stopping. These are real unemployment numbers. People just like you and me who are now relying strictly on government funds to live their lives without the possibility of getting a new job. The number one comment that I received outside of insults and name calling was that I should get a new career, a new job. Of course, this YouTube channel, along with a lot of other things I'm doing on the side, are all part of that plan. But what I can tell you is getting a new job normally when the economy is at an unemployment rate of under 10% is pretty difficult, as anyone who's looked for a job knows. Now, with record-breaking, unprecedented levels of unemployment, with everyone looking for a job, the possibility of getting one of those jobs has been dramatically decreased to close to nil. How many jobs do you think really exist when every single corporation is now limiting their crews to skeleton crews to avoid social distancing rules? Even if you might need another stocker at the local grocery store, are you going to put them on that might risk how many people you can allow into the building? No one is looking to the future. Everyone is looking to the right now, and that right now is I don't want to die from coronavirus, which is a very legitimate and very real fear, and I totally understand it and agree with it. Statistically speaking, though, the risk of dying from coronavirus while being under the age of 45 is unbelievably low, guys. That's just the truth. We have never in the history of this country or any country in the history of the world have we ever shut down an entire country because of a fear of sickness. The right now is also really comfortable because a lot of us, we got government money coming in. We got unemployment, we got stimulus packages, we've got savings, we've got bills we're not paying, all sorts of things that make this really comfortable. I mean, this is the longest vacation a lot of us have ever had, including myself. I spend most of my days doing things I want to do, cooking, eating great meals, hanging out with friends digitally online while playing Xbox, doing a few push-ups here and there, reading a lot of books. But what a lot of us are not considering is the reality that that money can run out. And when it does run out, and we do return back to work, that work that we return to is not going to be the same. What I have is an immensely controversial opinion, extremely unpopular. Very few people feel comfortable even talking about it, much less doing what I'm doing and posting videos about it. I did not want to transform this channel at all into doing videos like this. But at this point, I feel like I have to, because I don't know how many other people are articulating a viewpoint that needs to be articulated. Not only do I not know how many people are doing it, I won't be able to see those people because there is massive levels of censorship being done by technological conglomerates designed to stifle conversation about these topics. Here's an article from The Guardian. Facebook bans some anti-lockdown protest pages. The move raises thorny questions about civil rights amid the coronavirus pandemic. Thorny questions. That's how they want to phrase what they are doing, which is, in essence, book burning. They don't want you to be informed about unpopular opinions. They view it as dangerous. They want to control the narrative. Where have you heard that before? Facebook said on Monday that it was banning users from organizing events that defy government's guidance on social distancing. The company's decision to selectively enforce state public health orders came amid a spate of rallies protesting against statewide stay-at-home orders in cities across the U.S. The controversy highlighted the challenges that arise when a private company controls so much of the digital public square, especially at a time when access to physical public squares is limited by public health orders. I don't know at any other time in history in which talking has become so difficult to do. We are no longer allowed to come together in public squares or in public in general with any sort of real distance, and definitely not to talk about these things like protesting against the quarantine. Now, in this time of digital communication, the digital giants who control that communication are cranking down their idea of what is correct. And their idea of what is correct might be affecting our idea of what is correct. We need to be examining our current situation, and more importantly, examining our future situation. Because it seems that very quickly, our economy is not going to return from this crisis the same way as it was beforehand. And we don't have a virus to blame for that. We have a government, we have a media, we have technological conglomerates, we have people. When it comes down to it, censorship is an individual thing. Censoring is one person telling another they can't say what they want to say. And that group, the Chicago Service Industry page, did that to me. They censored me. They banned me. They kept the post up and made sure the 600 plus comments that condemned my viewpoint wasn't allowed to be continued to seen by me alone. What I can tell you is there's a lot of people out there who aren't afraid. There's a lot of people out there who are patiently waiting at home like I am, ready to reopen this economy. We aren't on the front lines. We're not on the back lines. We're on the sidelines. And we're sitting here waiting for something to happen. And while we wait, we look at the world and we are starting to see one that we no longer like to look at. If we are going to be spending our time in quarantine examining our lives on a grand scale, we need to be examining what it is we actually stand for and what we actually believe in. What I believe in is very simple. It is that fear from one possibility of death does not dictate how I live my life. If you don't get anything else from this video, I really hope that you get that censorship is the greatest evil to have ever befallen humanity. It is the tool of tyrants that has been used all throughout history. Ideas are free-forming. Ideas are open. An open society is a society that can talk about concepts, whether or not they are popular, where we can come together and decide freely and associatively which ones we want to be a part of. When technological conglomerates and individuals alike get together and censor those they don't agree with, we need to re-examine the type of society we are currently living in. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're doing well in this quarantine, and I hope everything you want to accomplish, you're accomplishing it. I'm sorry that I have to make such a serious couple of videos here, and it wasn't my intention, but at the same time, I think it's important. If you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, please comment. If you think I'm an asshole, well, you're probably right about that. If you think I'm wrong, I want to hear why. Intelligently, coherently, not with anger. Good night.